Hey guys, how y'all doing? Thanks for hanging out with me. And yes, I am driving in the car on my way to work, and yes, this makes it technically a drive time update. Uh, I saw The Matrix 4, and I watched it on HBO Max, which I think means that I saw it opening night. I believe my understanding is it came out last night. Wanted to see it in theaters, and I just thought more and more about it. I was reading just a bit about what to expect, just kind of light touches, and yeah, I just kind of figured I'm too busy. So spoiler-free version of the review, just quickly, and just set the context. I saw this movie in middle school. I think it was 8th grade. Pretty big deal at the time. Pretty big deal. It was one of those that you bought the CD soundtrack for, and you listened to it a lot. And you weren't sure what to think about the movie. I think it had deeper themes than we were aware of in middle school, but it resonated. Obviously, it's just kind of hero actualization kind of narrative. There's a lot of really interesting kind of classic archetypes that get built out through the first one, in different ways in the second and third. We get to that a little bit in the spoiler version of this review, but hearing that there was going to be a fourth one, I think, like a lot of you, I was relatively cynical about what that would entail. Because Hollywood probably bats under 500 when it comes to kind of soft reboot sequels, and picking up a franchise that was put down I think literally 20 years ago at this point. That at that point that becomes a soft reboot in the sense of what it tries to accomplish by kind of revivifying something that people have largely forgotten about. And so it's going to have to reflect on and revisit and kind of resuscitate a lot of the same themes and tropes, and maybe even scenes and dialogue moments and character arcs from the previous one, but maybe try to do it in a fresh way. Maybe something that's a little more 2021. So that's that, and that is the spoiler-free version of this review is just that is what happens here in this fourth film. And so it is kind of a let's and none of that is something that you'd miss after watching the trailer. It's in the trailers, obviously. They're playing with did the first three films happen? If they did happen, what does that mean about the Matrix? What is that like? Are we doing like an Inception kind of thing? Is this movie going to go one level deeper than the trilogy did? That sort of, that's something everyone was wondering after the cinematic trailers, and that's exactly what this movie is. And I will say that it is a heartfelt, it is a love story to the trilogy, which means it's a little more self-reflective and self-congratulatory for what the franchise has been and become over the years for people than I'm a little comfortable with. That's not the sort of fan service that I like to see. That feels just a little like we're just kind of giving each other back rubs about how much we liked, movies in 1999. I think there's better ways to do fan service that thematically respect and appreciate and celebrate themes and characters from the stories, but do new and interesting things with those characters that feel thematically consistent, but still provide surprising twists nonetheless. This movie also does that. There's new and surprising and yet thematically consistent things that happen, particularly between Trinity and Neo. Probably no surprises there. For those of you who remember anything about the second and third movies, they're primarily love story movies. Speaking in terms of theme, the first one's just, kind of like a Nietzschean Übermensch type story. The second and third is more about the power of duality and opposites, and kind of more of a who's the guy? Who's that psychoanalyst guy that just? Well, anyway, it's more about playing off of the power of the relationship, the growing romantic relationship between, starting as a friendship, of course, between Trinity and Neo, and then maybe they can become more than the sum of their parts, and that's very much what's on display in this fourth movie. That's the central thematic story, theme, plot point. So, spoiler version. How to say too much more than that? Basically, we kind of run through an arcade gallery of tropes and cinematic elements from the first three movies, particularly the first one, because obviously that one is the best one, and the production crew, Wachowski, person who made this, is very aware of this, and so we actually are we're actually subjected to actual like found footage, in a way, film footage revisited for this film to remind you of what happened in the last ones, because that's how dead, I suppose, they thought that this franchise was, that you needed to be reminded with that, with original footage in this new movie, so that you could tell that there are echoes in this new one, and basically I'll just kind of I don't like to walk you through. I don't do reviews where I'm just kind of like telling you what happens, but this is kind of spoiler in a way, because it's critiquing a particular device that they do in this story, and that device is that because they're playing an Inception game, you remember the Nolan film Inception 2013 or something, where they just keep going down through levels of dreams. It's a dream within a dream. Well, in a sense, they do that here. That's in order to keep Neo passive and placated and still within the Matrix, they have to plug him back. They rebuild him, even though he died in the third one. They reconstruct him, even though we're told that he appears inevitably, reincarnates in a way all the time. He's this independent variable that they can't predict, except that they can just predict that he will always exist within this otherwise perfectly ordered system. Instead of just anticipating that he'll show up again, they rebuild him physically, and then they put him back in the Matrix, and they have programmed him. They programmed his world. The Matrix. They programmed for him to think that he made a video game in 1999 that was groundbreaking, and it was called The Matrix, and he coded that move, like the events of his life, he made into a 1999 video game. And because they do that, then they have to play with the basically what is they have to redo in kind of a pastiche sort of way. I don't think it's very thematically deep. It didn't resonate very well, but they have to kind of walk you back through important moments. Like I said, often with they're telling you it's the same characters, just in new. Whether he just coded a bald black man who likes to wear sunglasses, small sunglasses. They're going to tell you it's Morpheus, even though it's not the same actor. It's because this is the Morpheus that Neo created with code. And they're going to do a lot of stuff like that. They're gonna tell you that Agent Smith is in the movie because Agent Smith got back into the Matrix in a way. I guess he was. They decided to imprison him, and but give him a different body so that he could be kind of watching. That wasn't clear. So that he could be Neo's, partner from this 1999 movie that Neo resented. That I don't know. It was just kind of like a prison where they could like psychologically suppress and control Agent Smith. So they can give you Agent Smith without having to deal with the fact that everyone is too old for this film. And unfortunately, I would say Keanu Reeves is probably we probably missed the time to catch him for this fourth film. Maybe 10 years ago would have been ideal, and from that point on, he's kind of drifted to a point where it's difficult to be as inspired simply by his age. It's he's literally saying things like, "I still know Kung Fu," and I'm supposed to be as excited for him in his what feels like his mid to late 50s as I was when he said that when he was 30. And same goes for Trinity. I don't believe that they have a puppy dog cafe. I'm too afraid to talk to each other. Catching glances from each other. A love affair for years, apparently, at a coffee shop at that age. And especially when Trinity is married with children under the age of 10, maybe 12 at most. I pressing X to doubt on that, unless the kids didn't look like her, so from another marriage, I suppose, one that was about to be another ex marriage. It's a little sleazy on Neo's part to be in love with a woman for years with children, and there's no reason for us to believe that he didn't realize that just from watching her for years, because her kids come in at a pivotal point in that same cafe, and I doubt it was the first time he saw them. It's just a lot of moments like that where they want to reignite same thematic points, and they want to it's a little ham-fisted, but like, suffice it to say, because they do the Inception thing where they're trying to recreate the same scenes oftentimes, but with younger actors, or they're like, it's what you remember but better. I appreciate the effort, but it's a little sad, and it reminds you that this franchise comes from a time when people made more original content, and this movie does nothing original, nothing new in any meaningful sense. There's new plot points. The twist is just that they advance the same characters you know and love, and you see them in a later stage in life where they're dealing with later stage in life issues, which I do appreciate. That's the new kind of twist. But the time to have done that would you probably shouldn't let a film sit completely inert for 20 years and then try to suddenly revisit it. Clearly, the confidence in the franchise had waned to the point where they have to show you the same footage that you saw 22 years ago from the first Matrix in order to remind you that you cared about it. So that you could care about this movie. That's a little too leeching off the spark of inspiration that was the first film. So all that to say, this is the second best Matrix movie, I would say. The second and third, though much more original and therefore in a way more interesting. You can't really anticipate a lot of what happens in the second and third. It's clearly, everyone knows that it suffers from exorbitant bloat, and is just not it's not the film that it the sequels are not the movies that the first movie deserved, and so they tried to give this fourth movie, they try to make this the movie that the first one deserves, and it's a little too it's too little, too late, and it's too it's tragically stuck with trying to remind you of why you cared to begin with, because it's been too long, and in order to make that much of a reversal, you have to, I don't know, you just kind of have to do this. No, you have to revisit a little too hard, a little too much. But that's what I'm thinking. It's the second best, which means it's better than 2 and 3, which are terrible. Obviously nowhere near the first one. And did this need to be made? Probably not. But I appreciated the notes. It wasn't a cynical remake. It wasn't just a revisionist moment. It was told from the same heart, but from so much distance, it's just hard to be as excited. Frankly, I don't think this movie was as excited about itself as it was about much of the CG effects that it could show off, which is something you could say about the second and third, frankly. But that's my review. Let me know what you think. Give me a like, give me a sub, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.